we are advocating to think about this world of digital money as a global public good. When protocols are agreed, this public platform can connect different CBDCs.
It's very troubling for American capital markets. You look at the rest of the world going in the completely opposite direction, not just trying to stamp it out, but in the UK and Hong Kong and Dubai, in Europe, actually enacting and working on progressive regulations that businesses can work with. Meanwhile, in the US, we have this sort of broad-based attack on the industry.
Yeah, in fact, we saw the CEO of Coinbase talking to the former UK Chancellor of the Exchequer today, saying, you know what, everything's on the table. We might move our business out of the U.S. eventually. And we've heard, Marathon Digital and a number of other businesses say the same thing. Do you think we're going to see an exodus of a crypto business out of the U.S.?
I really hope not, Matt. I think there's a lot about cryptocurrency and public blockchains that really aligns with American values: openness, liberty, sovereignty, capital markets, free markets. I think that would be a huge loss for the U.S., especially at a time when we're clearly entering a more multipolar world. I look at what Congress is working on now in the House Financial Services Committee, the stablecoin legislation, I think, if done correctly, could be extremely additive and supportive to the U.S. dollar. And not only in expanding the reach of the dollar, but also supporting creating a new marginal buyer of U.S. debt, which I think would be really positive for the country.
Is there a greater danger if you're doing business in China that the danger comes from China or comes from America?
Both. A mistake, right? We're each codependent on each other. When you're codependent, you have leverage over the other.
I'm saying that the politics are such that it used to be that people would say, okay, I'm going to do business in China, and the worry was the Chinese were going to take your IP, or that they were going to decide to throw you out of the country, or that there was something was going to happen. Mm-hmm. Today, the worry is just as much that the U.S. government is going to say, you know what, given the sort of Cold War that we have, if that's where this is all going, you got to get out of there, or we don't want you doing this, or we don't want you doing that. I mean, look, think about all the private equity investors. I'm actually surprised we haven't had this conversation yet. Mm-hmm. All the private equity investors who are invested in ByteDance, okay? KKR, General Atlantic, you can go down the list. Sequoia, there's a lot of U.S. money in ByteDance, which owns TikTok. We sit around screaming about TikTok as if it's some kind of, a national security problem. But guess whose money it is? No, it's American money. There will be a day, I think, if we actually go down this road with TikTok, where what's really going to happen is we're going to say to KKR and General Atlantic and Sequoia and everybody else, get out of the pool.
It may be happening in the next couple of weeks.
Right.
There's a story out today.
Okay, two responses to that. One is we should all recognize that we financed China's growth. We did it. We thought it would bring democracy to China. So we are deeply embedded in China. That's where we are. That means that any kind of sharp pullback is going to have significant economic consequences. What that doesn't mean is that we should just go on about business tomorrow like we did yesterday. And that's where the pivot has to come. But a sharp dislocation between the U.S. and China, it's also not good for China. Like if you're in China and you're sitting there and saying, if we have a sharp dislocation, what does that mean for us? Not so good either. So the easiest way to solve a problem, or say the best way to solve a problem, is recognize the problem that you have.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And guys, we have the EU, the emerging markets, moving forward with crypto. Because we know the fourth industrial revolution is the NWO's go. And that's the reason why the mainstream media is selling the narrative that crypto is leaving the U.S. Now we have Clayton, the puppet, again on CNBC. And we know he could have regulated crypto from the beginning. But he talks about China, and actually he told the truth on this. He admitted the United States funded China. And we know all of our corporations moved over there for cheap labor. And guys, we know if you're going to go against a manufacturing nation versus a consuming nation, we know who's going to win that fight. In America, we make absolutely nothing. If you look at TikTok, which again, America funded, but if you look at TikTok and you go overseas, they're actually doing something productive. In America, the Western nations, they're dancing and singing, playing pranks. And now that China is going to be decoupling, you're going to see a fall of the Western nations, especially America. Americans will be brought to their knees. So the fourth industrial revolution, the machines can rise. So you're seeing the fall of America to Babylon 2.0 and the rise of the emerging markets led by China the Dragon. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Well, Yellen said we're decoupling without saying we're decoupling. The things that are going on in the background, we still have the tariffs. We have the CHIPS Act. In March, wind terminals, which have economic data on China for bond traders, went down, and it's no response from China about why. And then just yesterday, the Bureau of Industry and Security fined Seagate $300 million for selling hard drives to Huawei. So this decoupling is happening, and I think what Yellen is trying to do is calm people down. But I think the thing that we have to think about is if China invades Taiwan, which it's looking like they're getting prepared to do, we're going to see an economic cut. So it's probably better that we start planning for it now rather than having it imposed on us like what happened with Russia's invasion of Ukraine. I absolutely am, because you can see the writing on the wall. No matter how much we don't want this decoupling to happen. It wasn't actually initiated by the United States. It started all the way back when Liu He and Ambassador Lighthizer negotiated the trade agreement, and then Xi Jinping tore it up. So they have been saying since then, we want to decouple. The Belt and Road Initiative, all of the efforts they've been taking, including calling bankers in last April to discuss how sanctions were levied on Russia so they can prepare for those. The Chinese have been preparing for this decoupling, and we have been fighting it while at the same time issuing trade rules and BIS rules and now investment rules. So it's coming. It's just we don't want to acknowledge it, I think.
Going to a different economy. And we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box, provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
It's Crypto Teacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the fourth industrial revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.